You're a hidden treasure, more than anything you could ever imagine yourself to be. Reflection of a diamond, you are beautifully and wonderfully made in His image, a priceless jewel.
Hello everyone, I'm Kenya and I am behind the scenes today for Woman to Woman, and we have with us a Miss Cloria Witherspoon who has come to share her story of being a triumphant woman to survive domestic violence. And she comes with us today sharing this story on behalf of becoming a part of our movement, which is a woman's worth which you can find on Indiegogo. That's INDIEGOO, which is a campaign we're sponsoring to use the artistic platform in order to bring awareness, to educate, entertain, and empower women everywhere. And we want you to join us as well. But as of now, we want to welcome Miss Cloria Witherspoon and thank her for coming in today and sharing her story of being so victorious from her situation. Thank you, Miss Witherspoon.
Thank you. Hi.
Now, is it okay if I call you Miss Spoon? Because
they call me that all the time.
Okay, because I just have the urgency to want to call you Miss Spoon. So, Miss Spoon, we ask that you just tell us a little bit about yourself first before we get into your story.
Well, I'm Cloria Witherspoon, and I'm a twin to a lady. I have 4 outrageous sons and 8 grandchildren, 7 girls and 1 boy.
Now why did you say outrageous sons?
Well, they some go-getters. They something like me. You know, I'm a go-getter, and they're determined to do what it is that they want to do, and that's something that I'm proud of, me being a single parent through the things that I have been through in my life.
Okay, now were you always a single parent?
Pretty much. I mean, no, from the beginning, through all the frustration and abuse that was going on, I was a young mother when they were smaller, and me and my husband had got into a situation, and separation came, and I pretty much was single for a good while raising my boys.
Okay, so you speak of your ex-husband. So is this the person at which hands you experienced the abuse?
Yes, ma'am.
It is. Okay, can you tell us a little bit about how the two of you met?
Well, we met at a club out in Houston called Bone Shakers. And 1981, me and my cousin was out. It was on a Christmas night. And when I met him, he danced, and we danced. And he danced with me all night. He just didn't want to dance with nobody else. He just wanted to let me go. And he followed me all the way outside to the car. So we exchanged numbers, and we started, talking.
Okay. So the courtship was really sweet in the beginning phases.
That's how it always starts.
So what was it about him that was so appealing to you, that just drew you in?
Well, he was tall, dark, and handsome. And he had that charm. He had that voice with that victorious sound in it. It was very professional, and it had a little strength in it. And I guess that kind of drew me to him a little bit. Kind of
James Earl Jones's.
Yeah, he had that voice.
And so the initial attraction and the courtship phase, how long did all of the oohing and ahhing and the sweetness of him last?
Well, it started out, actually I had just got out of high school. Let me take that back. I think I had my last year in high school. And I was right kind of from that Christmas up to like May. And I ended up, we was dating, and I seen signs, and by me being with him, and he was trying to show me some attention, like a woman to a man, with the love and the sex, and we was riding, going to the movies and to the stores and out to eat. I never had that before. So, that was another thing that kind of drew me to him.
So was he basically like your first real boyfriend?
He really was.
He was?
Yeah, he really was. I lost my virginity at 15. So, yes, I lost my virginity at 15, and then I caught myself having another boyfriend, but that didn't really work, and then I met him. And
Okay.
he the one, like you say, he was one that really showed me a lot of attention and to be in a relationship.
Now, statistically, you always hear the numbers about young women who grew up without a father, and because their father was not there, this happened because this, and this happened because of that. Now, again, you and I have spoken behind the scenes, and so I know a little bit more about your background. Share with the audience. Did you come from a single parent home, or you come from a home where you actually did have the interaction or whatever with both mother and father?
No, my father he was around, but he wasn't to play a role, to be there as my father, but I knew of him. And I had my uncles. My uncles and my grandfather were the men that was there that was helping take care of me and my siblings. And I also must say I had a beautiful childhood. I mean, I say it all the time because I did a lot of things that, as a child, that kept me busy. And even though my daddy wasn't there, it really didn't bother me, because I was doing things that I like to do as a young lady.
So he was basically, what I'm hearing from you as far as with the role of the father is basically you had a proximity parent.
Yes.
Someone who was there but was not there.
Yes.
Okay, audience, you hear that? It's important to not just be in the proximity of your children. It's important to spend that one-on-one time and devote that time and devote that attention and to give that son and that daughter that love and that devotion that they need personally. So, Miss Spoon, so when did you guys tell us about when he asked you to become his wife?
He asked me to become his wife prior to me getting pregnant, because I'll never forget it. His mother was, once she found out I was pregnant, she had us to come to her house. We had to have a family meeting. Mm-hmm. It was me, him, and his mother and his father, and she had the audacity to ask him, was he sure it was his? Really?
Oh, wow.
I'll never forget that day.
So basically,
he came from a big old family of 12 siblings.
So basically, the marriage was basically something that had to take place.
Well, I wouldn't say it had to take place because it didn't take place when it took place 2 years after the baby was born.
Oh, okay.
My grandmother told me if I didn't want to get married to him, I had to marry him.
Okay.
And that's something I remember my grandmother told me, and I didn't never forget it. And I didn't marry him because they wanted me to marry him. His parents did. But my grandmother told me that.
So what did your parents have to say, your mother and your father, about the two of you guys?
Well, my mother, it didn't really faze her. But even though me and my daddy didn't have that really close bond, he's seen some things in him, and he told me not to marry him. And then maybe I felt in my head, because you was never really around, how you going to tell me that? But as a father, and from probably things that he have done in his life, he's seen the signs that I should never marry him. And that's one time I should have listened to my dad, even though he wasn't always around to tell me something else. But that's one thing he said, and it haunted me to this day. He said not to marry him.
And they always say father knows best.
Well, he knew.
They always say that. And so, Miss Spoon, when did he begin to transcend into this other person? The
Monster.
From the nice guy to yes.
The monster. Actually, once we actually lived in our own place, because after I had my son, we stayed over to his brother's house and his wife's house with their 4 kids. Mm-hmm. I used to babysit them all the time when he would go to work. So once we got in our own place, which was kind of up the street from where they were staying at, the monster came out.
When you refer to him as a monster, what were some of the things that he was doing to make you say the monster in him came out?
He would fight on me, slap me out of nowhere. Trust me, I fought him back. And then every time situation would come up, he's sorry, he ain't gonna do it no more. I recall when my son was 2.5 years old. I mean, I can remember it was yesterday, and he wanted to have sex, and I didn't want to have no sex. Mm-hmm. So I went outside and I sat on the porch, trying to think it's gonna calm him down for a while. I think I sat there like about 30 minutes or whatever. Think once I go back in, he's not gonna bother me. Mm-hmm. No, that didn't happen. And I went back in. He tried to bother me again. I made my way outside the door again, and I'm like, okay, I was explaining to him, don't be doing that. So I went back in that last time, and he wouldn't let me out. He got me and put me in the room on the bed, and I had on some black slacks. I'll never forget it. He actually tore those slacks up off of me.
Oh my gosh.
And I mean, right now I just don't remember the sex part, but I think I don't think I gave him it. He never got it because somehow I was able to call my sister to come over to come and pick me up. And believe it or not, I let her in the house, and I never did leave, but by her coming there to talk to me, it kind of calmed the situation down a little bit. And, you know, that time went on, and, you know, it came on to other situations that happened.
So, the sister that you called, did this happen to be your twin?
No, my baby sister.
Your baby sister. So, what did your family have to say about this particular situation?
Couldn't stand him. You know, they didn't understand why I kept being with him all these years. But see, when you're young and love and naive, and that's my baby daddy, you know, he was the father of the first child. So, you know, I was thinking that, you know, you always think the situation's going to get better. It's going to work out. He said he ain't going to do it no more, and he keep doing it over and over again. I used to write letters. When it was calm, if he did something, I would write letters and, like, write a list. Okay, you did this, you did that. Stop trying to do these things. If you stop doing these things, maybe we can make our marriage work. But it went through one day after the other. So
basically, you thought that you probably could fix him.
Well, I wouldn't necessarily say fix him. It was like help him fix the situation so that we can get along. But really, like you say, him, but he was the one that was the problem in the marriage because he wanted to try to control somebody
and trying to make you to basically be the dominant person in the relationship and control every decision, control everything. So once you became his wife and you guys are married, you're living, you're raising your son and everything, your firstborn son that you had together, what were you doing as far as something that was individual for yourself?
Well, I started doing, I've always wanted to do hair, so I was starting to doing hair on the side. That's how I ended up going back to beauty school.
Mm-hmm.
And he seemed to support me a lot of things that I did do, but even though he supported me in things that I did do, he just wanted to feel like he had the big role in it. Like one time he got me some hair, and I put the hair, I'm trying to laugh, this makes me laugh. He had the audacity just because he paid for the hair, you know, he owned the hair. I said, you might bought the hair, but I'm going to put it in my head. You know, there's a lot of craziness.
So I'm curious about this hair story. So when you put the hair in your head, did you look so beautiful that it caused a fight? Like, what happened?
Well, I guess I was looking too good, you know, and getting compliments where he was like, well, I'm the one who paid for the hair, but I'm the one who put it in. So that's an argument right there.
Oh, wow. Just a power struggle completely.
All the time.
So what was it that actually took place that finally brought you to this place to say that enough is enough?
I mean, I could be all day tell you some of the horrific stories that we went through. I mean, this one time, prior to me leaving him, he had choked me so hard in front of my babies, okay? My oldest son, I guess he was like 10, and mother was 8. You know, they was going down the steps. He choked me so hard that I think he almost killed me.
Oh, wow.
On my step, I had left him. I had went from a garage apartment in my uncle's house to my own apartment up the road, north side of Houston. And he came by my house, and somehow he got my keys from me. I think I was just trying to be nice. You know, when you in a relationship like that, you in denial because this is my children's daddy. You know, I still love him or whatever was going on in my brain. You know what I'm saying? And he got hold of my keys. And I'm not gonna lie to you, he got hold of my keys and wouldn't give me my keys back. A friend of mine had a gun. I wanted to get her gun and shoot him.
Oh, wow.
And back to what I was saying, he choked me so hard in front of my 4 boys, my twin sister thought I had passion marks on my neck. And those were from his fingertips where he choked me.
Dude, did this affect your sons in any way? To see so much.
Sometimes I think it did. You know, the ones that kind of act out a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I have one particular son that I really think that it affected a little bit.
Yeah, and the one thing about our culture of people is I think that counseling and things of that nature is very, very important to help you get to that place of healing and wholeness. And I just encourage that. or whatever. And I just wanted to make sure that I put that out there, that when something as traumatic as that takes place, it's okay to seek out counseling. It's okay to seek out a third party, a non-biased individual to help you get to that place of wholeness and that place of healing for you and your family, so that you can move forward in the process of even letting go of a situation such as that. Now, we've already talked about what took you to that place of when enough was enough. How did you finally break free of this man?
It's always a situation with him. You know, no matter what I do, no matter what I say, and it's just, you know, I was getting older. I had to have my last baby. I didn't want no more kids from him. Mm-hmm. That was it. The baby boy. I had left him. I said earlier, I was in my uncle's garage apartment. I had left him, and his brother was getting married. And him and my second son was going to be in the wedding. So, you know, I was trying to just be the mother, and, you know, even though
and be cordial.
Yeah, be cordial. So, he happened to come over to the house, and he come in there, and he was scaring my kids. You know, he seen the children, and was telling the children to make up the bed and stuff. And I'm like, what? Why you got them doing that? This is not even, see, that's where the control go. This is my apartment. This is not our apartment. Remind you, okay? Mm-hmm. He not trying to tell my kids to do something that I should have told them I want them to do that before he came to my door. So I told him, I said, stop doing that. You're scaring my kids. You're scaring the children.
When you say he was scaring the children, like what exactly was he saying to the children? He was like,
get over there and make that bed up. These 4 and 5, 6-year-old kids, you know, and probably not even that young, that old, and you scaring the kids because they like, why is he coming in here making us make up the bed like military style, you know, militant type, his voice, you know. He was scaring my kids, and that was the whole reason I had left, because I got sick of his mess. That's why I left. So when you come to my house with the same thing. So
when you say military style, was he going behind them, checking their work? And
yeah, I mean, he had my baby make the bed up, you know, straighten the bed up, you know, like military, you know, that put that wrinkle in there, take that wrinkle out of there. I'm like, don't be doing that.
And they were 4 and 5 years
like
old?
4, 6, 8, somewhere like that. Because the baby, probably like 18 months, my other son. And then the other one was like 4. And the other one was like 8.
Oh, wow.
He was scaring my kids. And that's how a big confrontation came in. And he wouldn't leave. I asked him to leave. Mm-hmm. So I ended up calling the police. So when the police came, I thought maybe, you know, he was going to, like he had some sense once in his life to just leave. Mm-hmm. And the police came and he wouldn't leave, and then they hit him in the head with the bullet thing, the bullet stick in his head in front of my kids, and they handcuffed him and tried to take him down the steps. I mean, it just was no point with him, because I always say if I would still be with him, somebody probably wouldn't be here. I'm serious, you know.
So did he from that particular situation? Did he wind up serving time, or
he was on probation for supposedly assaulting an officer? And he was on probation, and he didn't do his probation, so he revoked his probation, so he ended up spending 2.5 years in jail, and that was freedom for me.
And so in those 2.5 years, you used that time as your way of escape. So what was it that you accomplished in those 2.5 years when he was gone that you were having a hard time accomplishing when he was free?
Keeping my identity, keeping who I am to be who I am. And it was always a fight, and I was able to have time to see who I was. I had time to be able to see my kids to be for who they were going to be, and, you know, just be myself. Mm-hmm. You know, without, you know, somebody trying to tell me what I can and can't do. I went and got my own place. You know, I was free at last.
So it was like a silence no more experience.
Yes.
A silence no more. I like that. And so it is very important. And so, see, this is the reason we call our production a woman's worth production, because it's so important for a woman to know her worth and to not allow herself to be defined by her circumstances or situations or anything that she's found herself having to endure. And here at Woman to Woman, we like to end everything on a positive note. Before we even do that, what advice would you give to young women whom may currently find themselves right now in a domestic situation?
To always hold on to yourself. Hold on to your identity of who you are no matter what. Don't give up, keep your head up. And I also like to say, I've seen a show on Oprah Winfrey, and there was a woman that had a book, I guess they was talking about relationships, and the title of that book was How to Love Him Without Losing Yourself. And I seen myself in that situation. And that book stayed in my head to this day, How to Love Him Without Losing Yourself. Because I was loving him, and he was trying to make me lose myself, and I always fought to keep myself.
That's the thing that helped you. The fact that you kept fighting. That's what I keep getting from you. Every time you bring it up, you talk about the fighter in you. And so I commend you for being so courageous. What positive word would you like to give us to empower us here at Woman to Woman? What would you like to leave us with for empowerment?
Faith in God.
Mm-hmm.
And that, I can't leave him out. You know, that kept me going. People used to always ask me, how you raising them children?
Mm-hmm.
Faith in God. That's what I used to always tell them. You with 4 boys? Faith in God. Without faith, it's nothing. And I thank God for his faith. And that kept me going, keeps me going to this day. And I'm determined.
So your spirituality, your strength that you found in God to help you through this trying time is what kept you going.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
You hear that, ladies? That's what kept her going. We want to thank you, Miss Cloria, for coming in today and sharing your tremendous story with us. We thank you for being so transparent. We thank you for being so open. And this is not about us in any form, shape, or fashion. This is about getting a word out there to encourage young women, to help empower young women, older women as well, to know that, again, they are not defined by their circumstances or situations, but that there's help out there and that we are here for one another and we need each other. And so we encourage you, and we want you, because everybody has a Facebook these days, and we want you to join us and become a part of this movement and go and participate with us on Facebook. You can find us at www.facebook.com/worth, WORTH 2013. Again, that's www.facebook.com/worth, WORTH 2013, and you can go and subscribe to our channel on YouTube at Woman to Woman. We thank you for tuning in, and we look forward to hearing you.
Woman, don't you know you're a hidden treasure, more than anything you could ever imagine yourself to be. Reflection of a diamond, you are beautifully and wonderfully made in his image, a priceless jewel.